Hello, good evening. It is almost 11 at night here in Germany, 17th of
Sorry.
June, 2020. And we are here with Patricia, my fourth story of this series. So hello, Patricia. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you.
And well, let's start. Tell me who you are. Tell me about yourself.
Okay, I was born in the United States because my parents were doing their medical residency in Houston, Texas in the 50s. And so my brother and I were born here. Then my parents were Argentine and they went back to Argentina. And we were there for 10 years, so I was raised there. And then came back here to the US when I was 12. And my grandparents were immigrants from Syria and Lebanon, and my other grandparents were immigrants from Spain.
Oh, wow.
And we were immigrants here in the US. My parents were immigrants here. So I feel like I have to be an immigrant too. So I started early on to want to live abroad and learn other languages. So of course, I was completely bilingual, and then I learned French, lived in Europe, in Rome, and Paris, and Barcelona, and I've been to over 60 countries. I've traveled all over the world.
Oh, wow.
And I became a journalist after working as an international product manager in Spain and France, and decided that I really wanted to be a journalist, and went back to school, got another master's at Columbia University in New York, and then worked for Telemundo and worked for PBS until 2012. And then after that, I started my own production company. Besides all that, I like to sing, so I've produced some CDs,
Wow.
music, and love to teach, and love to travel, and love my family and my friends, and I'm just a normal gal, I guess.
Well, every story, that's what I want. Every story in this series is a story that needs to be told. And yeah. So just out of curiosity, you just told me of the different things that you've done career-wise, but has anything changed from before COVID-19, before the pandemic to now? Were you doing something different to what you're doing now? Did you have to, or did you want to reinvent yourself, or no?
I was definitely doing more things, and I was doing them outside. I am a media consultant. I'm also an actress. I mean, I also work. I also teach outside of here. I write, I produce television as well, some television programs. And yeah, I mean, I was forced to stay home. And I'm also a medical interpreter. So as a medical interpreter, I work out and I work on the phone. And now I am all the time working as an interpreter on the phone. I do some writing, but I can't really do production because I can't get out. And the reason why I can't get out is mainly I have a family member who is going through chemotherapy, and I cannot, in any way, shape, or form, give her the virus if I were to get it. So I'm extremely careful with, I wear a mask when I go out, I social distancing, I don't go out very much. And it's been, in answer to your question, it has been harder to keep my sanity because I'm a very social person. And even though I have tons of friends and I'm on WhatsApp and we talk on the phone, it's not the same. So now when I see my friends and we keep our distance and we use our masks and I am so grateful. I mean, if the one thing has changed is gratitude. I am more grateful than I have ever been in my life. And I've always been a very grateful person, but I am so grateful now because now when I see my friends and my family, which I could only see my family once a week, we're all separated. We eat separated, we talk, but we're like screaming at each other. And same thing with my friends. And so I am so happy when I see them. I'm so happy. You know, this, you know, I am so appreciative that I have that now. So
We're able to, yeah.
balance.
Balance is balance is a necessity right now, and well, always has been, but right now, and yes, it, like you said, some people are more grateful, and it's one of the,
It's hard, but you appreciate things way more. I do, you know, my family, my friends, and I've always appreciated. But now it's just like so exciting to be with them. You know, it's like we're having dinner. Oh my God! You know, and we sit outside and we're sitting like 6 feet away from each other, but we're so happy to be together.
yeah, yeah,
It's just a
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's one of the few. Some say many, some say few, but it's definitely one of the positive things that are coming out of this pandemic, that are being, yeah. Continuing, well, changing a little bit the subject, always staying with the pandemic, obviously, since that's what this series is about. But just currently, so you live in Texas. If you could tell me right now, what is the most important thing going on in Texas? So what's the topic? What's on the news? What is happening right now in your country? So in the US in general, but specifically in Texas, that you can share with us?
There's a 30% increase in hospitalizations in the last few days.
30.
My friends, who are many doctors, are very concerned. 9 local mayors in Texas have written the governor and said, please let us demand that people wear masks. The governor, I feel, is in denial of what could happen, because we are supposed to, there's some study, I can't remember, University of Pittsburgh or something like that, that says that in 2 weeks we are going to be the #2 county in the country in the increase in the number of cases. Texas is a very conservative state, and a lot of people believe that we're exaggerating and the economy, we're destroying the economy because of this, and we need to open up the economy. And, you know, I think we're all in agreement that we want the economy opened. But if you're going to open the economy, for God's sake, then take some precautions and guidelines and follow them. We don't have that here. Half the people that I've seen on the weekend are not wearing masks. They're not practicing social distancing. So I'm very concerned about Texas. Very concerned. Right now, I think we only have 21% of our hospital capacity open to cases. And because it's not all about Corona. There are other cases. There are other ICU cases. So this is one problem people don't realize, is the logistics. They think, well, there's not that many people dying. Well, there's not that many people with cases. That's not just what this is about, which I think every death is a problem, but it's also about logistics. We do not have the capacity, maybe, to have all these cases come into the hospitals, along with all the other cases that we need to take care of. So I think a lot of people are still in denial in Texas, and I do think we are the state that, because we're not so like New York, where everybody lives in one place and everybody's together, the density isn't there here. People are not so impacted, and there's not that many people dying here, you know, per capita. So until people actually see it, like they did in New York, I think it's going to be an issue that a lot of people are not going to pay attention to.
And that's even knowing that this morning, the last number that I saw was that the US had 119,000 deaths. So Texas, yes, it's a big state. Yes, it is one state, and you haven't had that many deaths, but you belong to a country that has almost 120,000 deaths. And like what you're saying about the masks, it's just one part of the puzzle to prevent the spread. And it's
The United States, I think, is in denial still, generally speaking. Think about this. This has never happened. It happened in 1919, or I think it was 1916 to 1919 or 1918. That pandemic, most of us forgot about, and I think a lot of people here are in denial. And unfortunately, it's become, when you have a leader who is in denial, won't wear masks and thinks that this is just too bad, and we need to open up the economy at all costs. Then you have some people who take this very seriously, and some people who don't, and they politicize it. Oh, if you're liberal and you're weak, and then you wear a mask, and then if you're tough and manly, you don't wear a mask. These are stupid stereotypes that really we need to get away from. But
are hurting everybody. The whole
yeah, I think that the fact that 9 mayors asked the governor to please make it a law that people who go outside wear masks, a lot of people are becoming more concerned, but if the governor says no, and so far he said no, so far you're exaggerating. And look, if at the top of the country you have people saying you're exaggerating, your main leaders say that,
what can you expect?
I don't, and then unfortunately, there's people who don't have a choice. There are people who have to work outside. There are people who are exposed to it because they don't have a choice. They live together, they're cramped, they don't have the economic means to get away. I mean, there's so many reasons why some people don't have a choice. But the people who have a choice, some of them are choosing not to do anything about it. So,
makes everything much harder.
It makes it very difficult for people who are, especially the elderly, the poor, the people who don't have good health care. It's really sad. I think that we haven't really, I don't know. I think New Yorkers have a better idea, and even I have friends in New York who say that some people don't wear masks there, and they don't care. So I'm concerned for my country. I am. I'm very concerned for the U.S. I think we need to really take this more seriously. I mean, some people do, but I think so many don't. And
that's the problem. At least with situations as a pandemic, it's a global health emergency, that it's not enough to have some few, like a number, even a good number of people that do abide by these measures that are there to help to prevent the spread. It really needs to be everybody that puts their own.
Yeah, and if it isn't everybody, then we can't really protect each other. And I mean, it's funny because I hear some people here say, well, in America, we should have the freedom to do whatever we want. And again, my freedom stops where your freedom begins. I mean, there's certain things that I think this is when the government has to, and some people are against that, the nanny state. Why are they telling us what to do? Well, because by your actions, you may hurt other people that are not responsible for it. And so it's a real tough situation, because a lot of people are suffering. They're losing their jobs. They don't have enough to eat. They're depressed. There's more domestic violence. There's so much going on. And it's overwhelming. Really, it's overwhelming. So, but I think, again, I think some people who have a choice should do better. Should pay more attention to the mask, and to really not go out so much and be careful. But I don't have the power. I only have the power to control what I can do. And that's it. And I do write about it. But again, if you don't want to change your behavior because you don't believe it's an issue and people are exaggerating and you're destroying the economy, again, this is so new for most people in the world. did you ever hear, you probably did because you were infected. I never heard the word even pandemic. I mean, it's so out there. It goes to show you how little attention we paid to it.
To the world, exactly. Stay in. So yeah, it's
we're all in a way responsible for this, you know. I mean,
for sure. It's not only the United States, obviously. I mean, you have different countries that are different situations.
The United States should have done better.
Yes,
we should have done better. And
different.
But the thing is that what this pandemic showed us is that we have a crazy healthcare system. And I'm not saying that you need to have Medicare for all. That's not where I'm going, because a lot of people use this, oh, she's a socialist. They don't even know what socialism is, but that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is you can't have a system like what we had. Well, we have the money to do testing, and we didn't do it for 3 or 4 months. It's insane.
Yeah.
So, and
even now,
we do that, we do this, we do that. Everybody's doing something different because there's no national
message plan
to follow.
Yeah.
And even the CDC messed up. So I don't know. I'm really upset about that. But like I said, all we can do is what we can do. And, you know, as humans, as individuals, to be part of the solution. Follow the guidelines. I mean, it's that simple.
And after all, that's what a pandemic is in the end. The best thing you can do for a pandemic is do exactly what is needed for it to continue and live on and destroy it all. So if you don't want that to happen, you have to do the things to make it stop, to stop the spread. And there's not one solution. It's just a combination of things that need to be done. And it's really about what I have seen throughout, from the very beginning of the pandemic, even before it was a pandemic, when it was an outbreak and then an epidemic. It's really about altruism. It's really about thinking about the person next to you, the person in your community, in your city, in your state, in your country, in your continent, because any and everything you do will affect you, but certainly will affect your next of kin, the person next to you.
And also this has shown how important leadership is. I mean, by the way, 7 out of the 12 countries led by women are the countries that did the best job. Why is that? You know, maybe it's because women think a little bit more about community. You know, or listen to the experts. I don't, you know, there are many reasons why, but the countries that are paying the highest price are the countries that have horrible leadership, whether from the left or from the right. It's not an issue of whether it's a leftist president or a right winger. This has to do with whether you're a leader or you're not. And you know, this has shown how important it is for people to know who to vote for and who really cares, and what good leadership is and what it isn't. Unfortunately, thousands of people have died and will continue to die because of lack of leadership. And like you said, lack of altruism. I mean, I don't just take care of myself. I have to do it for my family. I have to do it for my neighbor. You know, I do care that people are dying in nursing homes. I do care that most people who are dying are poor and they're minorities because of health disparities as well. You know, it's really sad. It's really sad, and I am more hopeful because I think, unfortunately, the demonstrations, which on the one hand were very dangerous for people, on the other hand, it's like a sign that people woke up in America. I think people are pretty asleep here, and I saw a lot of young people come out and protest. I think that's positive. I don't think it's positive that it's happening during a pandemic because a lot of people are going to get sick.
Yeah.
But it was positive in the sense that we have issues here, and please listen.
And let's
Please
do something
listen.
about it. Yeah.
Let's do something about it. Yeah.
Oh, I think like many people that have gone through what the US is going through or will go through are hoping that sooner rather than later, people will start realizing it is time to act and react accordingly to stop the spread. So I really wish things to change for the US and Texas and your
Yeah, sure.
area.
We hope so.
Staying with this topic of the US, what was the first measure that the US, or even if you just want to go specifically to Texas, what is it that they did in order to stop the spread?
Well, I mean, I can talk about how our mayor and our county judge worked together really at the beginning of this process and started taking a stand as early as possible because, again, the United States reacted too late. But they were the ones that asked for the lockdown. And now the mayor and the county judge are saying, please wear your mask. And they're the ones that are writing the governor saying, please give us the permission to request that people don't do this, that they don't go out without a mask. So Houston, I think, was pretty progressive in how they took it on. But then again, we're going back to where is the leadership? If the state is saying one thing and your county and your city is saying another, it's very confusing.
And then you have your president saying another.
The president says something else or showing you something else. He says one thing but shows another. So, but I think Houston did pretty well. Again, right now we're under sort of the governor's orders, not so much the city. But if it was up to the city and the county, they would have said, okay, guys, you need to wear your mask. And I'm sure if it was up to them again, they might do lockdown again, although I don't think it's going to happen. I really think that I don't think the United States will lock down anymore. I think, unfortunately, they're going to put up with the deaths, and it's unfortunate. But again, if this had been handled well from the beginning, we wouldn't even had the economic impact that we had, the horrible impact that we had, to the extent that we're going to have it.
Exactly. That
it's too late. I think that it's too late, and things are still happening that are absolutely wrong. That like holding rallies. Or even the demonstrations. I mean, I am in favor completely of the demonstrations, and I do think they needed to happen, but frankly, it's going to hurt a lot of people. Now, if we have control, if we can control it, please control it.
Yeah.
And again, I don't care if it's Trump or Biden or whoever, don't have rallies where people are in one's closed space. It's just not very smart.
And it also, as we were saying, it really is a thing of communications, because wearing a mask is not going to protect you 100% from getting infected if you're exposed to the...
At least he could do is have a rally outside, okay? I mean, and have people separating.
Exactly. Really separated, wearing a mask, yeah.
That I could understand. I think that would be a responsible thing to do if you're going to have a rally.
If you have to have it.
Because he doesn't believe it. So if your leader is saying to you, come on. Oh, by the way, sign a paper that says you can't sue me if you get sick. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, so I could get sick. Yeah, you could. If you know that, would you as a leader say, yeah, come on, everybody, come on over?
As a leader, I wouldn't say it, but even as a rally goer, I would say, wait, you're making me sign something that says if I get sick, I can't sue you, but you're saying nothing's going to happen. Why are you asking me this?
Well, he's not, I don't know if he's saying that nothing's going to happen. He's just saying, it doesn't even go through his head. It doesn't really matter. The point is, there are smart ways of doing this if you're going to have a rally. I've seen in parks in Europe where they have like circles. They draw the circle where you can be so that you're not close to people. I mean, to me, that it makes sense. It's not that hard. They do it in supermarkets. Why can't they do it in a rally? I don't know. I don't understand. I don't know if they're trying to make a political statement. Like I said before, if you are manly, you don't wear a mask. And if you're a weakling, then you wear a mask. I mean, this is crazy.
It's not about politics. A pandemic doesn't even know what politics is. Yeah.
So anyway.
But okay, going back a little bit more about you, about your story. When was it that when was it that you realized that this situation, this pandemic, was actually more serious than what you thought or what was being said around? Was it something that just happened progressively, or was it when your country went on a lockdown, or something happened? You had a moment of realization because of XYZ. What's your story?
My story. I was living in Spain and Italy in November of last year, and I went back to Spain in February. I was in Spain from February 5th to February 18th. During the time I was in Spain, I was close to Barcelona. There was this huge event, a digital event, cellular digital event, that brought in $500 million to the Barcelona economy. And I remember they canceled it. And they said it was because of the coronavirus. And then I thought, wait a minute, why would they cancel such a huge event for the coronavirus? This is crazy. And I thought, and nobody in the media in Spain was saying, oh, it's the coronavirus. Maybe something's going on with the corona. No, the whole discussion was, oh, how it's going to impact the economy and how many jobs are going to be lost. And everything was about the economy, almost nothing about why is the coronavirus stopping this huge event, worldwide event. And I thought to myself, this is weird. This is kind of weird. No information had come out yet, as far as I knew, from China yet. I mean, I wasn't aware of it, except for that. There's a coronavirus, and, they really want to cancel it because, I don't know, it's contagious, but not enough information. So then I get back to the US, and they start talking about the virus, and I start reading. And I start talking to my friends in Italy and Spain. Italy, Patty, we're in lockdown. This is crazy. These people are putting us in lockdown. People are dying. Old people are dying. I'm thinking, okay. Then I get another phone call from my best friend in Madrid. She caught the coronavirus, was in the hospital. And I'm thinking, this is serious. They're telling me their reaction to it, what's going on. And then I get another call from a friend in London. She gets the coronavirus. And I'm thinking, whoa, my friends are in lockdown in Italy. My best friend has the coronavirus in Madrid, and I have another friend in London with the coronavirus. And they're all telling me their symptoms and what's going on. I said, this is serious. And I start reading Italian news, French news, Spanish news, before I start reading the Trump hoax. Nothing is happening. We have it under control. Everything's fine. And I knew nothing was fine. And I knew that the only way we would know, because I was reading about Germany, what they were doing, Taiwan, what they were doing, China, what they were doing. And I knew we were way behind in how we were reacting to this. people in the government were saying, oh, it's not a problem, everything's going to be okay, we have it under control. And things were happening in Europe that I was very much aware of. And I thought, this is bad. Finally, after 2 months, was it, or 3 months, that he calls the national emergency, this way after everybody was going through it in Europe, in China, and most of the world, not most of the world, because we really started hearing more about the world later. So that's how my story started. And then even my family, my sister-in-law was going through chemo. She wasn't paying that much attention to it either. And then her daughter my niece is a medical student. Boy, they sat her down and said, Mom, you are not going out at all.
Ever.
You are not shopping. You are stuck in the house and you're not moving from here. And boy, they really got serious. The whole family got serious. I got more serious. I mean, I was being careful, but then I used to go see my brother. I only have one brother, and we're very close, every day for dinner. I don't go. I'll go once a week with my mask, far away. All of us are far away from each other, and that's how we see each other now. So I'm as far as my story, I'm very lucky.
Yeah.
I'm very, very lucky. I know people who have died that weren't my friends, but I know people who have died. And I am very sad and very concerned about other people mainly, because I have a job and my family's intact and my friends are okay, but I am aware that a lot of people are suffering. So that upsets me and it concerns me. And I'm trying to help the best way I can. I donate money. I do what I can, but it's just not enough. It just feels so overwhelming. It feels like, how are we going to get this under control? And I try to keep my sanity. I'm very careful about. I've got to a routine. I wake up early. I have a routine that helps me cope with the stress of knowing what's happening. Because I'm a journalist, I read everything I can get my hands on. So, and that's it's hard. I have to balance that with, I go out in nature. I take my walks in nature because I feel that if I don't do that, I'm going to go crazy.
But careful, yeah.
But it's concerning. And I try, and I was sharing this with you before, I try to focus on the now as opposed to what's going to happen next year. And I try to focus on what can I do now and how do I feel now and how do I deal with whatever is happening now and how do I make myself happy now and balanced. Because I can't solve, when I get overwhelmed, I can't solve the problem of the world because this is just a world problem. It's not just America.
Yeah,
so
it's everybody's problem.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you try to do the best you can by trying to help others in the best way you can, but you feel like you're not, I feel like I'm not doing enough. And you do the best you can. That's all you can do.
That's all you can do. Exactly. And staying with what you can do and with what you feel and what you think. We spoke a little bit about it already, but just to dive more into it, just tell me, what are your hopes? What are your concerns? What do you think is going to happen in the US, but especially in Texas, in the next few days, in the next few weeks? What you hope will happen, what you don't want to happen, what you think will happen? Just give us your thoughts.
Well, let's start with what I think will happen. I think the cases will keep going up. Let's talk about the next 2 weeks. I think the cases will keep going up. I think people will start paying more attention. So they might start wearing more masks, more social distancing. Um, what I'm hopeful about is that I do think there's a lot. You know, we have the biggest medical center in the world in Houston. It's the largest medical center in the world. And I think those people that are leading the hospitals and the doctors and the nurses, I think they will speak up. And I think that they will drive this, they will drive it. And I think that because they're seeing what they're going to see, I think that the politicians will have to react to that. And like I said, the mayor and the county judge are more in favor of more measures to keep the spread from going up. The governor is still in denial. As far as the economy, I think it's really still very difficult because the politicians can tell you, oh, let's open up the economy, go to the gym, go to the restaurants, shop, consume. But the bottom line is the people who will decide that. The people will decide whether they're going to shop. The people will decide whether they're going to the hairdresser. The people will decide whether they go to a restaurant or not. And, you know, I think the more people that you see dying, again, I have to say this, there's not, per capita, there's not that many people dying per capita. And I think I've shared this with you before. The problem is logistics. Besides the deaths, which is a huge problem, obviously the most important problem, and people getting the virus and dealing with it, it's also a logistical problem for the medical center. Because if they don't have enough beds for everybody that has ICU problems, because not everybody's a COVID patient. There are a lot of people who get sick with other things. And then the hospitals become overwhelmed, which, by the way, some hospitals are already overwhelmed in Houston. Some are already overwhelmed. They're just taking the patients to other hospitals. If we get to the point that New York got to, unfortunately, which I don't think can happen because we don't have the density that New York has. But if we get to the point where our hospitals start telling the world, hey, we got too many people here, we can't handle it, we're tired, because by the way, they must be tired.
Exactly.
Okay, then maybe in 2 weeks, I don't think in 2 weeks that's gonna happen. In 2 weeks, I think we're gonna see spikes. I think we'll have cases going up.
And
so I don't think that there'll be a reaction quick enough yet.
well, staying now with the 2 weeks, because that is actually, as we've discussed before, when I reached out to see if I could interview you, that is really the message of these series, that 14 days can make a change, and it depends on your own actions. And before we get into what could happen or what will happen in 14 days, before we see that, I wanted you to tell me if you could give a message to the Patricia of the future Patricia, the one that is in 14 days. What message would you give yourself? Would you give to the future Patricia?
That no pandemic lasts forever, and that that I need to keep hope alive, that I need to keep praying and keep meditating and keep exercising and keep doing what I do, and don't lose the faith, because I think it's going to get worse. I think by the time I'm talking to that Patricia in 2 weeks from now, I think it's going to be a really hard time for Houston. And I have to really fight the despair and the sadness and the frustration and the anger that I had been feeling about the way this whole thing has been handled. And so I would say to her, calm down, figure out how to calm down, because getting upset about it is not going to help anybody. It's not going to help you, and it's not going to help anybody around you.
Well, on that note, I wanted to thank you for your time. And
Yeah.
well, Patricia, we will see each other in 14 days, and let's see what it will tell us.
Let's hope it gets better. Let's hope I'm wrong. Yeah.
Let's hope you are. Thank you very much, Patricia.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.